ants. Something that this channel has been focused around for a very long time. Something that I take a lot of pride in is ant keeping. However, there's something that we haven't really talked a lot about, and that is the ants' very closely related family members within the Hymenoptera tree. My second favorite insects on this entire planet. They are by far the most hated, at least within the US, and especially online, where people just absolutely just stomp on them. And honestly, I believe they do not deserve it in the slightest. No, of course, it is not bees. Bees are absolutely loved by everybody. They are the golden child of this family of insect. It is the one that everybody absolutely hates. It is, of course, the wasp. The evil, terrifying, fun to hate, but also fun to kill, and absolutely diabolical, sometimes some say worse than some dictator's insect, the wasp. However, unlike many others, I say otherwise. In fact, I have spent the better part of 3 years working in my yard, planting milkweed, planting goldenrod, planting evening primrose, and other native plants just to help out not only the bees and ants in my community, but also these beautiful, absolutely gorgeous wasps. Specifically, my awesome native paper wasp species, Polistes fuscatus, the northern paper wasp. In some areas, including mine, this species is oftentimes targeted by pest companies and by people who find wasps to be scary like the majority of the general public. However, I am here to say that this is not the case in the slightest. In fact, this species of wasp is probably one of the most tame species I have ever worked with. In fact, they are so tame that this colony here was on my deck all season, and they did not sting a single person. They were hanging around my groups of friends, family members who came over, me, my dogs, and everyone, and not a single one got stung. And to be honest, Polistes in general, as a genus, are some of the most calm and mild wasps that you'll find anywhere. And that basically makes up the vast majority of the species that you will find in those little tiny combs, including this one right here, especially in the northeast and the north. Now, I know I've been yapping this entire time about how the species is absolutely calming and, they're completely not at all threatening. I mean, as you can see here. Oh, by the way, they have a bunch of color variants. That is still a northern paper wasp. They just look like that sometimes. But you may be wondering, how can I benefit from wasps? How can I, Mr. Joe Schmo from Naperville, Illinois, in the middle of August, how can I benefit from wasps? And, they smell bad and they look bad and they're scary and ew, they're gay. Like, how do I benefit from having these guys around? Well, I'll tell ya. You can easily get a lot of benefit from this species, like you can see in this clip right here and on a lot of clips that I'm showing you. These guys are pretty good pollinators. Now, they aren't as good as bees or bumblebees, however, they are still good pollinators. As you can see, they are easily sharing the space with bumblebees and actively pollinating the area. Now, of course, every once in a while they will get into a little bit of a scuffle, as does what happens with a lot of things that kind of operate in the same niche, especially when it comes to pollinating. But, that's not exactly unheard of. That happens even with some bees. I'd honestly wager that these wasps for my goldenrod ended up doing the vast majority of the pollinating in my backyard because of how prevalent they were. They were more prevalent than the bumblebees when it came to this section of my yard, and they helped out quite a bit. Another thing that they are incredibly good at, and honestly quite contrary to ants, is they are amazing at getting rid of your pests in your garden. And they 100%, oh, maybe not in effectiveness, but they definitely beat needing to spray your garden with a bunch of harmful chemicals that is going to do complete damage to your ecosystem. Their main diet really does consist of just insects, especially grasshoppers, crickets, and really anything else they can get their hands on. They are huge scavengers, and that makes them pretty good at getting rid of your pests. Any pest sees these guys, and they're probably gonna try and get out of there. These guys are the A10 warthogs of your garden. They will take out a lot of stuff. Now, although I have been talking big ups to the wasp, to the northern paper wasp, and to many other species, I do want to say that some people definitely do have a good reason to get rid of them, that being that they are allergic. And to those people, that is completely understandable. You don't want to possibly die trying to keep them, in your area, and that is fully understandable, and knock them down. This video is more focused on those who can afford to have them around and who don't have possibly small children who might go poking at their nests or have an allergic reaction. Those of us who can actually keep them around, basically. And I just think that it is significantly better to do that than just start killing them. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, let's actually talk a little bit about how the species and how most wasps start out their life. Now, a lot of wasps, they are what we call social wasps. They are eusocial, so they make colonies and nests. They're the ones that you mostly see and the ones that I've been primarily talking about. However, there is another category of wasp, which I don't really talk about much at all, and that is the solitary wasps. Now, those are the parasitic wasps that target spiders and other such insects, where they bring them out into a burrow and they are completely alone. They literally just are completely solitary. They don't talk to any other wasp. They don't have wasp friends. They're like your standard Discord mod, or that quiet kid at school who kind of seemed a little bit strange. But we're going to be keeping it focused completely on social wasps. So this here is a male wasp and a queen wasp, or a foundress wasp. Now these are your reproductives that the colonies end up producing towards the end of the colony's lifespan. These guys are the ones that are going to make new colonies come next year. These are the ones that you oftentimes see in spring all alone on a little piece of just paper with maybe 1 or 2 cells, and they are incredibly important. Much like ants, not many of these make it, because a lot of them have to make it through hibernation, and then on top of that, they also have to make it to the point where they can actually make a nest and actually found a colony. And that takes a while, and it makes them pretty easy pickings for many birds, because they're constantly flying around trying to find food, and they don't really have much worker strength in the slightest, because it's just one queen, or sometimes multiple queens, because they can make a polygynous colony. One thing that's interesting about wasp life is that once they get workers, unlike ants where the workers just they're all equal, including the queen, and they just kind of protect the queen just because she's the egg layer, wasps, especially if there's multiple queens that found a colony, are a little bit different. They actually have a bit of a hierarchy system, and the queen, or whatever, foundress, has to actually hold on to that rank as being the dominant wasp species by doing things like antenna attacks and such, which is really unique. They kind of actually have an up-down hierarchy of sorts, which is very different compared to ants. If said queen ends up dying, they'll actually choose a new queen, or, well, rather, a new queen would have already been appointed, that being the second most dominant wasp in the tree. So sometimes a queen will die, and that doesn't mean it's game over for the wasps. They'll just choose a new one, which I think is pretty cool. As the colony gets older and as it gets later into the year, the colony will start to produce reproductives, those being males and new foundresses. This is basically how the new reproductives are made, and when it comes to the time for them to leave, they will leave the nest and they will mate during the flying around and trying to find a place to hibernate part. And then from there, the cycle starts again. Of course, that isn't the case with all wasps. Some wasps, including those which are down south, such as, some yellow jacket species, like the German yellow jackets and some southern yellow jacket species, they can actually survive 2 years, and their colonies get absolutely huge. I don't have any permission to use video footage of that, so I'm just putting video footage of bees. They're pretty neat. I really want to see one of those in person, and yeah, but I'm mainly talking about my local wasps in this part. But yeah, anyways, I think that's about all I have to say. If you guys want to have a topic or a specific insect that is native to Wisconsin that you wish for me to make a video on, that's kind of like this one, honestly, feel free to put one down there, because I have a handful, I think, that I want to get done, but it's going to be quite a bit for me to get that through. I know it's a little bit of a change of type of video compared to what I normally upload, because generally it's ant related and this is full wasp. I do not expect this video to do good, however, I hope it does. I'm sick and tired of my poor babies being told that they are worth nothing and that they suck online, so I had to get this video out. I mean, just look at how cute this thing is. It's literally just chilling on my finger. How can you kill such a cute individual? But yeah, thank you all for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the lack of uploads. I am busy working and other things of the sorts. But hey, I got the main video project of this year done, even though it seems quite ranty and all that. I mean, as long as it's out, I'm happy. I know this video is probably going to perform bad. If it doesn't, yay! But if it does, oh well. I was really just working on this kind of passionately. I wanted to make a video on Wasps for quite a while. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you dislike it. Subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment, genuinely. Leave a comment if you want to have more videos like this. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. And I guess I'm gonna go play Payday 2 or go outside and do something else with my life. Yeah, anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and goodbye. Mwah!